Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 106 of High Scores, High Stakes, the podcast that has spent far too much time talking about non-PlayStation games. Let's fix that tonight. I'm your host, as always, Mr. Luvva Luvva, and with me is my co-host.
And there he is, doing a big old yawn.
Well,
My co-host, Tomahawk, as always. How are we doing, Luvva?
I'm doing well.
It's brilliant, though. As soon as you do the intro, I'm like, I can feel a yawn coming on, and it's going to be dead unprofessional, but it doesn't matter.
I mean, if you're half asleep listening to me, just imagine what the audience is doing. It does not bode well for high quality content, but that's what we're all about here at High Scores, High Stakes, high quality content. If this is your first time listening to us, I apologize for Tom's yawning in your ears. That's very rude.
It's very, very bad, man.
But I can assure you, we are not usually about yawning. What we are usually about whilst in season is competing against one another in a PlayStation Game League table. Every week we pick a game. Every week we play a new challenge. The winner of the challenges gets 3 points, second place gets 2 points, third place gets 1 point. Off season, which is what we are right now, we do our side quest series of podcasts, which is where we discuss everything PlayStation, everything gaming. It's like having a brand new podcast in your ear every single week. And if you've already heard that 106 times now, and you haven't left a review, a star review, or wherever you're listening to this, please do that now. 1 star to 5 star, whatever you think we're worth, that's what you give us. If you want to give us a written review, that's even better because the algorithms absolutely love those, and so do we. We love reading them. So give us a 1 to 5 star review plus a wee written one as well. If you've already done all of that, but you haven't told a family member or a friend who you think will enjoy the podcast, hit that share button and do it right now. Send it through WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger or iMessage or whatever you are using. Share it around. Let's get more eyes and ears on this podcast. And with all that being said, Tomahawk, in record time, I think, tell me, what are you playing?
Ooh, the sultry tones of the merchant. What have I been playing? That's a very good question. I was a little bit bold and I downloaded Call of Duty Warzone just because
Casual.
I succumbed to work colleague peer pressure and I downloaded it. I have played 1 round of it. Did okay. COD's very much a pick up and go kind of game, as we all know. We're not big fans of it on High Scores, High Stakes, but
absolutely not.
I do quite like the battle royale aspect of it. I was just thrown into a team of randoms. They all dropped off, did their own thing. I was like, oh, we have to jump out of an airplane. I forgot about this part. Did my thing. It probably won't last considering it takes up about 150 gig.
It's incredible.
Enormous.
How unoptimized that game is. It is crazy.
Not only does it have to download Black Ops 6, which I don't own, you also have to download all of the additional add-on packs and stuff as well. So it just eats hard drive space. It's insane. Yeah. Really is.
It's madness. Did you play on Verdansk by any chance?
Verdansk,
I know that's back. Yeah,
I think that was kind of what has tipped me on it, because everyone who said, "Oh, you should play COD, Tom, play COD with us," and I'm like, okay, I suppose like Verdansk is a big thing for the seasoned COD player, but I'll play it for a bit and see how long it goes for me. But I did start playing Devil May Cry as well. I picked up the HD collection, which was on a mega big sale.
Yeah, it's pretty good too. It's not bad. It's not a bad HD remaster.
Yeah, I was going through it the first couple of levels there. I forgot how frustrating the fixed camera angles can be.
It makes it super difficult.
Especially in a game that is quite fast paced and high octane, with a lot of the combat taking place in like all these corridors and all these set pieces and stuff as well. So Huawei still looks great, by the way.
Yeah, it's a good looking game. It
was a good looking game. It's such a Capcom game though as well. It's like all this cheesy dialogue with like huge bits of action where Trish throws the motorcycle at you in the agency for no reason. And it's like, okay, cool, this is what we're doing now. And it kind of half twigged at me. I feel as if this is what they wanted Leon Kennedy to kind of be, like the avatar for Dante.
Well, you know the story behind Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry came from an original build for Resident Evil 4,
Yeah.
and it was buggy. And one of the bugs was the bouncing of enemies.
Oh, okay.
And they were like, no, this does not fit with Resident Evil. But they liked it so much, they're like, you know what, just go and turn this into its own wee thing.
Its
so
own little project, yeah.
So that's why it has fixed camera angles. That's why it takes place in that weird European castle and that sort of business, because it was originally intended to be Resident Evil 4.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you do get a whiff of Resident Evil. You get that Spencer Mansion vibe the whole way through it, and just it's Capcom. You know what you're getting yourself into there. So that's been me. That's been pretty much what I've been playing this last week or so.
It's not a bad game. I really like Devil May Cry. Yeah. I played through it a couple of years ago on the PlayStation 4 when that HD remake first came out, and I forgot how hard that game was. That game is really hard. It's like brutally difficult.
I was tempted to it had been sitting in the basket for a while, and I kind of was gonna glance over it, but the Netflix show is so good, I just had to pull the trigger. I think had the Netflix show not come out, I probably wouldn't have done anything with it.
Yeah.
There we are.
There you go. That is the power of multimedia franchises here. Games industry, pay attention. Have a Netflix anime TV show and tumble buy your games. That's what I'm hearing. There's the weekly microphone hit. Yeah.
That's a proper synergy from Capcom.
Right. I have been playing actually very, very, very little. It's been a busy week. The kids are all off school and stuff. So I have been continuing my run on XCOM. So I have on my Steam Deck. And I must admit that game is getting really, really good, but really, really difficult. So I think I was saying to Ian Cardinal in the group chat that I had a map where I lost all of my promoted soldiers effectively. And I was like, don't worry, I haven't saved and I'm going to reload.
Are you using save states?
No. You don't. There's no autosave. There's no autosave, you see. So you just have to save it whenever you can save it whenever you want, really. But I like just playing through full boards and then saving. But once that happened and I lost all my good soldiers, I was like, right, I'm not going to save this. I'm going to reload. And I looked at the reload. It was an hour and 15 minutes previous. But I was like,
no. It can be a momentum killer, can it? But I suppose when you're so immersed in it.
Yeah, it was only one board. So I was like, don't know what, that's fine. I'll pick us up tomorrow. So I did. I picked it up the next day. And the same thing happened. I lost everyone. I still finished the mission with my rookie because I like having one low level character just to sort of boost him up, if that makes sense.
To get him buffed up then.
Yeah, so it's just
is the XP kind of like, as long as you have a bit of a balanced team, the lowest rank, or probably like how you would play Pokemon, as long as the lowest person is used, they get as much XP as the higher rank?
Yes and no. So your soldiers will rank up through doing things that their class is intended for. So, you'll get points for kills, you get points for taking objectives, you'll get points for doing a lot of different stuff. So as long as your soldiers are doing something, like if they're taking damage off enemies, if they're killing them, if they are, achieving the sort of optional objectives and stuff like that, then they'll get XP. There is no shared XP. So there's no like level. This level will get you X amount of XP. It's just what you do within that level that gets you your XP. But I like having one low level character, maybe two, and having two high level characters to do most of the legwork. But once I played through that level a second time and lost two of them, I was like, don't know what, I'll just take this on a chin and I'll take it as a learning a learning moment. And I saved it and I'll just push on through it and just sort of get other soldiers promoted. But what a game it is. It is it's
not
good.
A Luvva game. Like, this is the second week you've been talking about this now and I'm still going, this is just as far away from a Luvva game as I can muster and I can fathom. So fair play. We're broadening the horizons here.
That's it. It comes to a point where when you buy a game in 2015, you have to play it. Eventually. I couldn't believe it when I saw the purchase date and I was like, oh my days, I should really play this. And I was listening to, I think it was Remember the Game. I think it was Adam Blank was talking about XCOM 2 in a recent episode. And I was like, I think I have this. And
Okay.
then that's when I went digging through the Steam library. I was like, yep.
It is funny though, because I did see a couple of people that we would engage with, maybe on Twitch as well, had been playing XCOM as well. So there must be something going around at least anyway.
Yeah.
So there seems to be a few people all at the same time kind of playing it now. So it's interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a really good game. I would say give it a go and see if you like it or not. There's something about it. It's just really addictive. The story's not great. The story's pure 1960s sci-fi.
Vaguely remember getting XCOM when back in the Netflix of game rental days, like that early doors Netflix where you could have the games. Oh, Love Film.
Oh, Love Film.
Sorry, pre Netflix. Sorry, when you could have the games delivered to the house.
Yeah,
I think. So I had XCOM, and I think I had DMC at one point or another, possibly.
Incredible scenes. What a game.
There we are.
What a game. It comes full circle. It comes full circle. But let's not bore anyone else with our talk of all these strategy games and antiquated video game rental methods. It's almost as bad as my video game truck bus story.
I miss Love Film. I miss it so much.
Let's get on to the topic of the week. What are we going to be discussing this week, Tomahawk? Well, I say we. I have created a list of first-party PlayStation games from the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 eras. It is a list that comprises of 23 games / franchises. And what we're going to do is we are going to put them into a tier list. We are ranking these games from S tier to D tier. Shall we do that now? It sounds like it could be fun.
We should. This sounds incredible. I expected 10 tops. Now that we've got 23, we can work with this.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's get there now. Okay, Tomahawk. We have spent a lot of time in this. We call ourselves a PlayStation-centric podcast. Yeah, we spend a lot of time, like we just did, talking about Steam games, talking about PC games.
There's fallen off the PlayStation wagon about 30 or 40 episodes ago here now, but we're rolling with it. But yes, you want to rein us back in.
Let's get it back to PlayStation. Yeah. I've got a few angry emails from PlayStation executives that are saying that we're meant to be a PlayStation podcast. Why are we talking about Steam games? Why are we talking about Xbox games? Why are we talking about Switch? All this other good stuff. So contractually obligated to Papa Sony to talk about their games, and that's what we're going to do. So as I said, I have comprised a list of PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 first party games. Now, when I say first party games, I mean a game that was developed in-house at Sony at one of their many worldwide studios. I have discounted quite a bit. So this is not a definitive list of the games of Sony released on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. So I have discounted the games I know for sure you wouldn't have played. So if it is a PlayStation VR game, it is not here.
Okay.
If it was a PlayStation, if it was a PlayStation VR 2 game, they are not here because only Cardinal has one, and he is gone because he's on a very special mission. We'll get to at the end of the episode. And I have discounted games that were made by third-party partners. So there is no Stellar Blade, there is no Rise of Ronin, there is no Death Stranding, things like that. Things that weren't there. If they're not first-party Sony games, they are not here, regardless of exclusivity status. Does that make sense?
Perfect.
Right. So I have made a tier maker, okay? And tier maker does this wonderful thing where it puts all the games into alphabetical order, okay? So
fantastic.
So there are some games here, Tomahawk, that are long-running franchises that have been running from, in some cases, from the PlayStation 2 era.
Okay.
For the purposes of this, those PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation Portable, PlayStation Vita games do not exist. We are taking the franchises from PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. That's the only 2 eras that count here tonight. So, for example, when Uncharted rolls around, it is just going to be Uncharted 4 and Uncharted Lost Legacy. That is it. Okay. We can't take into consideration Uncharted 1, 2, 3 or Golden Abyss. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
That's perfect. Fine. Then let's get going with this. Game number 1, Tomahawk, is Astrobot. So Astrobot has had 3 games, PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 era. You had Astro's Playroom, Astrobot, and Astrobot Rescue Mission on the VR.
Yeah.
Which are all really good games.
Yeah, no. The Playroom is because it's one of those ones that it came pre-installed on the PS5.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. So this
yeah.
was like this is the guide. This was I suppose it was our intro to Astrobot as a mascot at this point.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
And then it was like a lovely tour of how the PlayStation 5 hardware works. I remember the first, like, properly playing it and deep diving it and getting a feel for the haptics and the actual, like, hardware. Fantastic. And then he's just springboarded into a Rescue Mission and then his own little standalone title then.
Yeah, I really loved Astrobot Rescue Mission on the PlayStation VR. I thought it was a superb game. And it's just one of those games, I think we've talked about this before. It's just one of those family-friendly games that PlayStation just do not do anymore. My kids love Astrobot. Like, they love Astrobot. On the PlayStation 4, when you bought the camera, there was a game, I can't remember what it was called, but Astro's Play Date or something like that was called, but it was just an augmented reality thing. You can just spawn all these Astrobots from the controller and then you could interact with them with the camera. You can like kick them and throw them and all serious sort of business. My kids love that. They call it the alien game. Can we play the alien game? Despite the fact they're not aliens, they're tiny little robots. But they love them. I love them. I thought Rescue Mission was the closest Sony have ever gotten to a Mario game. I thought it was more inventive than a Mario game. I really liked Astro's Playroom. I thought Astro's Playroom was, as you said, like, it was a tech demo for the PlayStation. It was to show off the PlayStation's like graphical and audio and haptic capabilities. Beyond that, it was like the celebration of PlayStation, and it was just like a really, really, really good experience.
That's it. Yeah.
Like a really good experience. It was one of the best packing games I have ever played. It was amazing. I've not played the newest one, just Astrobot, but it's won 5 Game of the Years. It's won a BAFTA.
Yeah, it's so high regard, and for Sony to have like smashed out of the park with essentially a platformer, and they've like dragged it into relevancy again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's on the wish list, and it's one of them games. Rightly, it's never going to come down in price anytime soon.
Yeah,
you're going to be waiting till the tail end of the generation for it to then go onto PlayStation Plus. It's that kind of game, and I think it's one of those games that has weirdly defined the console.
Oh, 100%. It's redefined platformers in a weird sort of way. Usually that's it's a compliment paid to Nintendo for a Mario game.
Yeah.
But on this occasion, I think Sony have surpassed Mario with what they've achieved with Astrobot. It is a double A game. I mean, it really is a double A game.
Yeah.
And I think Astrobot has earned an S tier.
Okay, I was going to say, based on my experience of what I have played physically, it was going to sit firmly in an A tier. I think if I had played the new Astrobot, that probably would have catapulted it firmly into an S tier game. So I'm going to be the first sort of conflicting opinion on this. He's going to sit at an A tier purely because what he's done is brilliant. What the game and the franchise as a whole is excellent, but because I haven't played the full blown, like, here's a 16-hour full game for you, just not there yet.
Well, I am going to counter that by saying I have played Astrobot Rescue Mission, which is a big game. It does have a lot of content. I think Astrobot's Rescue Mission is really incredible. Like, it's genuinely incredible. And I thought because it was a VR game that's not first person, you in the helmet control the camera. So in order to progress through the levels, you have to change your seating position. You have to follow Astrobot around. You can lean around corners. You can look up and down.
Class.
And all the hidden robots and stuff can only be found by actually using your body. It sounds really counterintuitive. It is a bit of a learning curve. I think it was incredible. And I have no reason to believe that the newest Astrobot is going to be worse than that.
Yeah.
For me, Astrobot Rescue Mission is an S tier game. I think the pack-in Playroom is an a high A tier, if not slipping into S tier. And I think Astrobot, it doesn't win Game of the Year in a busy year if it's not exceptionally good. So that's why I want to put it at an S tier.
If only we were doing two different lists and we had collated them at the end. But if we have to come to a consensus on this one, I think then you are the person who probably has the more Astrobot knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I will happily take the lead on, let you take the lead on that one then, and we can plug it in.
Yeah, I think S tier is fitting for it. It hasn't had a bad.
I mean, it hasn't missed in any aspect. It's done from a tech demo to a full standalone as well, with a pretty good, I mean, from your opinion, a pretty good VR title as well.
It's an exceptional VR title. It's not very good. It's exceptional. It's an exceptional game.
Right.
Okay, so S tier for Astrobot.
Straight off the bat, yeah.
Is an easy one. Bloodborne.
It's S tier. I mean, we've talked about Bloodborne endlessly. We've got Game of the Month episode dedicated to it. The adoring public a decade later are still screaming for more Bloodborne content. We might have Elden Ring content coming out of every orifice at the minute. We might have Duskbloods coming out next year on the Switch, which blows my mind as an exclusive title on the Switch too, but that's not for this podcast. Bloodborne just has a fan base gripped for a full decade.
Oh yeah. It's just an incredible game.
In every aspect that you break that down in, it doesn't miss. It's an S tier game all day long.
100%.
Without harboring that point for too much longer. Yeah.
It's an S tier game. It is my most played game on PlayStation 4. I think when I was a blogger, I think I gave it the game of the generation. I stand by that. I think it's just an exceptionally well crafted game. People will go, I thought he said it was only PlayStation in-house titles developed by Sony. Sony owned the IP for Bloodborne, so this counts. You can't talk about PlayStation 4 games and not mention Bloodborne. That's why it's here. It's the best game on PlayStation 4, in my opinion. It's an S tier game.
Definitely my highest hours, my highest input of game on the PlayStation 4. I think I'm something to about 120 hours plus at the minute.
Yeah, I think I'm sitting 148 or something like that. I spent a lot of time in that. The next game up then, so that's S tier for Bloodborne. Easy, one of the easier ones we'll do tonight. Concrete Genie. Have you ever played Concrete Genie?
I have never ever heard of Concrete Genie. Okay, sorry.
Well, no. I am going to advise you that it was a PlayStation Plus game about 3 years ago. I think it was part of the PlayStation Play at Home initiative during the lockdown.
COVID then.
You own a copy of it. Play it, because it is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful game. It is one of those games that has it is single A at its heart. It's just got this lovely story. It's about bullying. It's about self-expression. It's about finding yourself and finding your place and fitting in. And it is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful game. I think it was Sherry that put me onto it. He goes, "This is a Luvva game. If I ever played one, play it." I did. I played it way back when. It is a wonderful game. For me, it is probably a B tier game. I don't think it gets to the heights of A tier. I think it's a B tier game.
Just looking at it, and if I have to take this purely at face value, it looks like one of them lovely little VR titles. Nice poppy art style, nice wee art style from the look of it there. And it has a pretty sound message to it.
It's a really lovely game. It's a really lovely game. It reminded me of The Puppeteer from the PlayStation 3 days. It's a really good game. I loved it. I thought the story was good. The VR is only optional. You don't need VR to play it. I never played it in. Did I ever play it? I think I might have played the whole thing in VR. It might be released during that sort of time when I was playing everything in VR, justifying the price of it.
Just while the gimmick was there. No, yes, you're just right. I'm surprised this one has slipped, because this looks like something I would definitely have given a go.
Yeah, I think it was made by the same team that made the PlayStation 3 game. I don't know if you ever played that, Rain.
Oh yes, I did.
I think it's made by the same guys. Really, really, really nice wee game. Just a lovely wee experience. And it is an experience. You'll play it once, probably never again. Although talking about it, I kind of think,
I might go back to
reinstall
that then.
Yeah. So I'm putting that at B tier.
Fair, okay. No, that's all right. I think just if I had to take that at face value, it looks like a very mid, kind of title, but enough that people have talked about it. And if it was a play at home initiative, then definitely I think there would have been a lot of eyes on it for one playthrough, as you say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so the next game then is Days Gone.
This is a funny one. This is a really funny one
Because
I got Days Gone around the time of the pandemic as well. I think just as we went into lockdown, and I remember when this game came out, it was a bit not very well received at the time, and I thought I'll get it. It was cheap. I think it went on sale pretty quickly after its release anyway, so I think I paid maybe £25 for it tops. What a story. Like, so good. And I think what they were doing with like the freakers on screen and how many they could actually like have at one time without your game completely crashing or your hardware crashing was brilliant. And I think it's one of the very few games that I have seen that got a secondary review because it was like everyone who was playing it again or during COVID and the relevancy and like the people could start to draw comparisons to like that time that we were living in. It bumped it up so much. And it was similar to, what Bloodborne is. There's a fan base there who were like screaming for more.
Yeah.
And Sony just didn't want to touch it.
Yeah. Sony, I think Sony got their fingers burnt with this one. I think they put a lot of trust into Band Studios. They showed it at a lot of different conferences and game shows, and when it came out, apparently by all accounts, it was a mess. Yeah. I didn't play it on release. I'm like yourself. I bought it when I think it dropped down to like £25.
Yeah,
and I was like, don't know what. Let's give this a go. How bad can it be?
You take a chance at that price, really, because that's what I would put into like the AA, bracket. But it's not a AA game.
No, really. No, it's a AAA game by all metrics. I really liked Days Gone. I really loved the story. I thought the gameplay loop was very good. I also felt that there was some real annoyances with this game. The motorbike during the early game constantly needs refueled. Constantly.
Oh, it's rough work. Yeah, once like it's the one thing that you need, and it's the one thing that you're constantly having to tend to and amend and fix and stuff. So arduous, but once you start to level it up and make it work, it's so worth it. I think someone had said to me, I can't remember who now, it takes until about the second or third camp that you actually like of story progression for the game to really kick off. Other than that, it's just drive through the forest, talk to these people, go run to this location, and then when the game properly opens up, it's great. I think it's one that I very much finish a story and then just kind of like put the game away for a bit. I think this one I did do another like 10-15 plus hours of just what more can I do? What more can I uncover in this game? It's seldom that happens to me, especially in a big open world game that way. And I have pre-ordered the remaster.
The remastered. I have also pre-ordered the remastered. I really like it. I do like this game. I thought the early game motorbike was really annoying, but as you say, when you upgrade it and get it sort of going, you form. It's a weird thing to say. It's a motorbike. You form a real bond with your motorbike. Your motorbike is like your best friend. I know boomers there, but it becomes your friend. And you're utterly reliant on it. I loved a lot about Days Gone. I thought the story was superb. I like the sort of twists and turns the story takes. I think the game is one act too long. I felt when you get into Yellowstone, without spoiling too much about this game, you get into Yellowstone, I felt like the game was coming to an end, but there was another like 10, 11, 12 hours left of the game, and I just felt it rumbled on far too long. The ending was way worth it. It's got one of the best endings in a game, And it's also one of those games I thought was just, I'll play the story and be done with this. I completed the story, went back, played it 100% of the game, got the platinum trophy, got the secret ending. The secret ending is incredible
The
and
secret
well worth
ending
it.
was really, really good. Yeah. Like it's one of them games that even the side missions and even all the little side bits of narrative all do have a way of sort of coming up to the fore as well. And I liked it. I really, really enjoyed it. I did kind of think that Boomer was a bit irrelevant at the start, and then I'm like, no, actually, he's a great wee
He's a great
NPC.
character.
Yeah, he's a great character.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great characters in this game.
But where does it sit in a tier? Like,
I think it's B.
I'd be inclined to agree, and that's going off what we have currently. Like maybe another playthrough on the remaster might change that, and we'll have to do a bit of retconning on that. But firmly, it's in the high end B. It's like a B plus if we had to do it. Like, but it's knocking on the door of an A tier. But that seems fair because, as you say, the game was a little bit of a mess when we sort of came into playing it, at least anyway. But I think during lockdown playing it, and I hate saying the relevancy during the pandemic and stuff, but you can, it's the same thing I have with Death Stranding, that kind of, you can draw those comparisons, or your brain naturally draws them comparisons. And yeah, I think it creates a good relationship with the game and the player. Like, so I'm happy enough with B tier.
Yeah,
on that
I think
one.
it's B tier. I don't think there's some games I'm looking at here that are definite A tiers, and this game is not as good as them.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm wording it here anyway. Right, so the next game up then is Demon's Souls.
Ooh.
The remake from Blue Point, obviously.
Demon's Souls absolutely kicks me up and down.
Yep.
Every time I try and play this game, and it's not as nice as an experience to play than Bloodborne is.
No, it is not. It is only 5 years older than Bloodborne. It feels a lot older than that. I started playing this game and it kicked me repeatedly. Like, it curb stomped me for about 15 hours, and then something clicked, and then I hit an utter roadblock in it, which is the spider boss in the tunnel. That is the least fun boss I have ever played in a video game. It is impossible to avoid its attacks, and it hits like an absolute freight train. There's a lot to like in Demon's Souls. I think Demon's Souls obviously set the framework for what From Software was going to become in the modern era. You know, with Demon's Souls, you don't get Dark Souls, you don't get Elden Ring, etc., etc.
It's a very good foundation that Demon's Souls sets.
Yeah, the remake is excellent. I think it's a really good advertisement for the power of PlayStation 5, but I played it for about 20 hours. Did I have fun with it?
No. You don't have fun with these games. Like we talk Bloodborne, I think as a whole is a very good entry level game, and it's quite forgiving.
Do you think so? Father Gascoigne?
I think Bloodborne is a really forgiving Souls-like. I think the learning curve is long but shallow.
Really?
I do think Father Gascoigne epitomizes that first section of the game as a boss. Is like, here's what you've learned in this biome. That will apply for the rest of the game. And then everything you can kind of draw off that. Whereas I think every other Soulsborne game I've played, I'm like, this is a hateful experience. I don't like this. Their learning curve is so steep, so quick, and I enjoy it in different ways. Whereas I think Bloodborne kind of is a lot more accessible and a lot more forgiving. Yes, you could clear a full hour's worth of biome and then be killed by a random dog or a crow. Yeah, exactly. But
you see, I don't think Bloodborne is easier than Dark Souls. I think what Bloodborne does better than Dark Souls is it teaches you how to play the game. It teaches you everything through natural gameplay. Dark Souls teaches you nothing. Demon's Souls just goes, have fun, but then provides nothing to have fun with because
Yeah,
it
you
is
know,
so
that's it. Like
brutal.
Bloodborne's so accessible in terms of like anyone can kind of pick it up and will be able to cobble it together.
See,
Like
I don't think
the
that's true.
enemies are quite reasonable reasonable in a broad sense, like, but whereas Dark Souls, Demon Souls are very much plonk, do what you want, go where you want. We're not going to tell you how to play this game.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Bloodborne does guide you a wee bit better, but I think that's just because it's a better design game. I think Bloodborne is just a better design game. I think you're reducing Bloodborne to something that I don't think it is, personally. I think if I think back to my first playthrough of Bloodborne, getting stuck in central Yarnum, the bonfire, where there's like 14, 15 enemies, I remember struggling to get past that, like totally struggling.
I still 100 plus hours. I still struggle there, but I get what you mean.
Yeah, I don't think it's easier. I just think Bloodborne does a far better job of communicating with the player what it wants you to do and how to do it. I think that's the big difference. I think Blue Point missed a trick by not sort of tutorializing it a bit more. I'm not saying I want this game to go push the
I'd
X
hold you by the hand to do it. Yeah.
But I think there's no sort of, it doesn't ease you in like Bloodborne does. Bloodborne does, the first few enemies are there by themselves, and you can gives you room to tackle them and let you know, okay, this works against these.
Come on. Bloodborne's first enemy makes you fist fight a werewolf.
Yeah, just run past it, man. Just run past it. Get to the first lantern and then go to the hunter's dream and get your weapon. Then you don't have to fight it. That's the thing. I didn't have fun with it. I liked Demon Souls, but the spider boss totally broke me, and I think it was my fourth boss at that stage of the game. I didn't have fun with it. Is it a really well-made remake? Absolutely, it is. But where do we put it? Where do we put it?
Well, it can't go above Bloodborne.
No, because Bloodborne is top tier.
I don't think it's an S tier either. It's definitely not an S tier game.
I don't think it's an A tier either.
See, I go for, if I'm going to go by pure enjoyment in what I have played for it, it sits at, it does kind of sit at a controversially, it sits at the C tier for me, but that's purely because the game just kicks your arse for the entirety of your playing span. Is it a skill issue? Quite possibly.
Absolutely.
Is it a me problem? Absolutely.
Yeah. But I think it's better than C. I mean, a part of me says for actual like game design and execution and doing exactly what it wanted to do, it probably does deserve A. But I'm looking at B tier, and we have Concrete Genie and we have Days Gone. And I'm tempted to think it's as good as Days Gone, but for different reasons, very different reasons. I think it's better than C tier, personally.
Yeah. I think that's my head thinking it as opposed to my heart. My heart says it's like closer to an A tier, but given whatever skill issues, whatever you want to call it, I think it probably sits more. Yeah, I think more close to the B tier if we are going to really split hairs on this one.
I mean, yeah. I think design wise, world design, enemy design, combat sort of design, I think it's really, there's a lot to like in it.
Yeah, I like all FromSoft games in all different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has to. I think B tier will split the difference on where it should be and where I've aggressively put it.
I think C tier is harsh. I really do. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next one is Dreams, the Media Molecule game. I say game engine. It is the game engine that released on PlayStation 4 will allow you to make your own games effectively. Had a really lovely tutorial where it was a story mode game where you had to bring a saxophone player through a journey of self-discovery and repentance and all this business. I loved the gameplay of that. And I did make a few static sort of, I don't know what the word is for them, but like a few levels in inverted commas, but they were just static sort of scenes. And I really liked
Yeah.
it. But I just thought that it was really complicated for the layman when it comes to making video games. I would never dream of sitting down and playing games with the intention of making a game. However,
Yeah, it's very lovely looking. I will say that.
it has a beautiful aesthetic. It's like a watercolor type aesthetic to
Gorgeous,
everything.
absolutely gorgeous aesthetic on that. Looking, yeah, I'm refreshing my mind because as soon as you said it, I had a blank and I was like, no, that sits somewhere in the back here, and I'm having to kind of misremember. So I thought, let's go straight to the old Google Images here and have a quick gander at it. But I do vaguely remember this one, and I just to think it requires a lot from you as a player.
It does. It asks a lot from you. Now, of course, you don't have to spend the time in the creative suite. That is just where the game is. There was also the Explorer, but other people have made, and you can just go in and play games that other people have made. And I played some blinding games in there. There was like someone had done like a Jurassic Park game, first person, where you have a run away from a velociraptor. There was like some really good horror experiences in there as well, but it never got that level of popularity as like Little Big Planet did or anything like that, and it really missed the trick. Sony didn't push this very hard, and I feel like Sony are to blame for this game's shortcomings. I really like the single player campaign on it. I really like the tools to make a game, and I really love the idea of this is what other people are making, but there just wasn't enough.
And there wasn't enough push or backing from it, I think. Yeah,
there wasn't enough in the game. Now, the game is just a tutorial for how to make games in this thing. There was a really nice VR mode where it simplified things an awful lot and it gave you a lot more creative control. But there just was never enough experiences made by other players because this game just didn't have an awful lot of players. And for that reason, and it hurts me to say this, because I really like Media Molecule. I really like Dreams. I just wish Dreams got more spotlight from Sony, and I wish they backed it a lot more than what they did. I think they lost sort of faith in it. And I think for all those shortcomings, Dreams is C tier for me.
Yeah, that seems about right. I remember it, and I remember it passed me by pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It didn't leave it looked gorgeous, and I think just you download it, you kind of have a quick look at it. I think my playtime's like, when it shows you it's like less than an hour, so it doesn't even track a statistic, barely as a statistic. I think if you're going to put all that time and effort into like building your own games and levels and whatnot, but if me, who's super passive about that sort of thing, would just go, I don't really have time for that. Yeah, C tier. Happy enough.
I have no idea how much time I put into it, probably about 20 hours. I did make a couple of, as I said, like static scenes, and it was really cool and I liked it, but it just wasn't the push. It's a game I would log into to play other people's creations because I'm not creating anything.
Yeah, exactly. That would be it. That would be where I would stand on that as well. But yeah, it massively passed me by, I think, and I think it must have passed a lot of other people by as well.
Yeah. The next game then, I don't know why this is out of alphabetical order, but it is Destruction All-Stars. Famously featured on the popular podcast High Scores, High Stakes.
I liked Destruction All-Stars.
Okay.
Now, would I put it anywhere higher than a C tier? Probably not.
No. No, absolutely not. No, it's not going higher than C.
I think for what we did it for and for what the actual like challenge was, I think it was a very good. We executed the challenge quite well with that game, to be honest. I think if they had a couple more game modes, they could have had a little bit more to it. I just think it was super limited in what was available. The roster is the roster. That's fine. Nobody has any kind of like big standout perks or buffs or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But I just thought it was either it was like a demo derby or it was capture the flag or it was something else. And that's it. It was something else. It hasn't even registered in my brain what other game modes there were.
Yeah, there wasn't much. There was a Carnado Mayhem, and then the one where you had to collect machine cogs. There was nothing to this game.
I liked how it looked, and I liked how it played. It played quite smooth. I didn't really have any issue with the gameplay as such that way. But I just think Sony slapped it on and went, let's see how long this does, and it'll get no further support after 9 to 12 months.
I think when we played this on this podcast, I think there was one character sort of select screen space left that was never filled because they
never bothered. Yeah,
pull it. I liked this game. I mean, I thought it was fun for what we used it for, but this was a game as a service, and it was meant to be built upon and get better and better and better. It never did. There was no variation in it. I know there was Carnado and Mayhem and all this here business. Every game played exactly the same. All the arenas looked exactly the same. There just wasn't any game here.
No, there's no variety. They just like slapped on like whatever. You felt like whatever was at alpha stage, and then they just went, that will do.
That'll do.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's no game to it at all. I mean, it was fun for what we used it for, but we had nightmares getting into the same lobby despite there being no players.
That's it. It was a disaster. I think even like in party, like we were actually the three of us in a party together, and they still were like, nope, you guys are not playing together.
Yeah.
And there wasn't that many people playing either. I'm convinced that we did have multiple lobbies where it was like, oh, this guy's left and jumped into this lobby as well. So it's not to say that the servers were stressed.
No, not at all. I just don't think there's much game here. You used a word there, disaster. I think it's a D tier.
D tier. Ooh.
Yeah. I think it's D.
Have we anything in C tier at the minute?
Dreams. I think this game's way worse than Dreams.
That's worse than Dreams, yeah.
Way worse.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take the what I enjoyed for the podcast out of it now. Like if I had to go bare bones, like what this game is and what this game is supposed to achieve is achieved absolutely nothing really. Yeah, sod it. Let's put it bottom of the pile.
Yeah, I think it's D tier. And speaking of games that are in D tier and also out of alphabetical order. Concord.
Unmitigated disaster.
Lasted 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
I still to this day can't believe that.
I liked the demo.
I liked the beta. I'm not gonna lie. I remember Sherry getting Sherry being Sherry pre-ordered the Ultra Deluxe like Super Concord edition. I think Sony massively overpromised and we're building on the Guardians of the Galaxy hype train and kind of piggybacked off that. And then I think the reveal trailer, the reveal trailer when they announced when the beta was, felt like a real gut punch to me.
Yeah,
because I thought we were getting this like epic AAA open world Guardians of the Galaxy-esque game that we were going to go and globe hop or galaxy hop and do all this, and there'll be a big bad to fight. And then the gameplay trailer happened, and we all, and I remember this clear as day, and we all just went, oh, it's a hero shooter.
It's Overwatch.
Yeah.
With none of the things that made Overwatch good.
I was just like, got punched was exactly the feeling. Played the beta. It didn't do anything for me.
I liked the gameplay of it. I thought the gameplay was fine, but
it just Marvel Rivals.
I have no interest. It's not my type of game. I liked it for what it was, but we are getting dangerously close to talking about this game for the same amount of time that it was actually a game. It has been eradicated from all history. Even Tiermaker didn't want to put it in alphabetical order. I think this game lasted 2 weeks. Sony have closed the studio, sacked everyone involved with it, lost £400 million. And I think for what was there, it was fine, but there's no game here. You can't play it anymore. And for that reason, if
Oh,
destruction
CEX still sell it, apparently.
incredible scenes. Don't know what, I would buy a copy if it's like £2. I would buy a copy just to have it. But yeah, it's a D tier. It has to be.
Yeah.
If this doesn't get a D tier, nothing is.
There's no game in it. It was a complete disaster. And like, yes, you could spin whatever you wanted, that there was going to be these like story beats every time you logged into a new lobby. Nobody cared.
No.
Literally nobody cared. It'd be different if it was a live service action shooter where you could go and do like a Helldivers type thing. It was just a hero shooter. It was an Overwatch clone at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I said there already, if you want that, just play Marvel Rivals. It's already surpassed every expectation on it. So
games are, mate. Just play it.
Exactly.
Concord, D tier. See you later. We'll never talk about you again.
That's it.
The Sherry Kiss of Death. He ordered the £80 version and lasted. If I remember correctly, Sony refunded everyone who bought it on PSN. That tells you everything you need to know about it.
Absolutely. Right. Like, it was awful.
Next game then. Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, I love this game so much.
So do I.
Like, it's properly one of the few games, and I always like to think that The Last of Us was like my proper, this is a cinematic experience before it's a game. No. The Last of Us is a game, as far as I'm concerned. When you put it, sort of compare it to the narrative and the story of Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Tsushima is a utter cinematic masterpiece.
Yep.
And it's a game secondary. I thought this game was absolutely stunning. I streamed this game like in its entirety. I thought everything about it. I thought Jin's story, Jin's conflict, Jin's willingness to like throw away heritage and tradition and all that for the sake of what he needed to accomplish. I just thought, you put that as a movie, that sells out every week.
Oh, absolutely. I really like this game. I think this game is really bloody good. It's another one, Platinum, that did everything in the game. And then I played was it Legends mode? Is that what the multiplayer mode was called?
Oh, yes.
Really good. Legends mode was a really intelligent move from Sucker Punch. It basically retells the story of the main game, but hundreds of years in the future, where this game is, the story of the game has been shared by word of mouth so often that everything becomes exaggerated. So
there's like this heightened sense of what actually happened.
The Mongols become these demons, and Jin Sakai and all the other characters in the game are like these like superheroes, and it's just a really, really, really good game. It's not perfect. It's not perfect.
There is a big learning curve with the controls, I thought, especially when you have to remember you could be fighting like 15, 20 enemies at a time.
Yeah.
But not every enemy will require the same fighting stance. So there's an awful lot of jiggering with the controls, and it's quite overload, I think, for the player, especially. But what a time to play that game.
Yeah, it's one of the best games on PlayStation 4 by a mile. I think my biggest issue with Ghost of Tsushima is there's not an awful lot to see or do in the map. It's the island in the story feels like the main character in ways. It's beautiful. I love traveling through it, but there's very little to see or do in it.
Yeah, you are going from like marshland to village to lovely like poppy field to a port town. I distinctly remember my map just being this big grey haze with just lines through it, because I explored a good portion of it, but I found that there was nearly too much, and you're just going through sea of nothing to get to these points. I think that was the only thing that is just probably the time frame it's set in. There is nothing between these villages and towns.
Absolutely, yeah. But it doesn't make for a great open world game experience. This game is amazing. It's amazing in spite of its problems. I think the combat is incredible. The one-on-one fights are just spectacularly good.
I think though as well, when you take that in, like the boss fights aren't typical boss fights. They then set them up as this like the best way to describe it is how Kill Bill does it, where it's like nearly the 2D profile of the characters, and you're just sort of like kind of figuring each other out and fighting that way. I think that game in its story beats did have me audibly gasp at several points as well.
I mean, the story's incredible. The story's incredible, and just the whole setup for it is incredible. I just love the conflict in the main character. Just, I have to. If I stick to our rules, we're going to
We're
die.
done. Yeah.
And it's his uncle, isn't it? You know, he is dead against.
He's the slave to.
Honor.
That's it. It was this, you're a slave to tradition. That's it. I think that was one of the lines from the game, and it was just like that really sits as like the whole game, and I think that phenomenal.
Yeah. The best part about Ghost of Tsushima was the sort of media coverage of it over here was Sucker Punch should be ashamed of themselves. These characters are stereotypes. This game is racist. And then not a week later did the Japanese government give them the key to
the city
Tsushima because they thought it was such a faithful rendition of feudal Japan, which I think is
so
just
good with Sucker Punch as well. What was so good about when they announced Ghost of Yotai, I think everyone did breathe this sigh of relief that we weren't getting a follow-on to Jin.
The story's done.
Because where do you go exactly from
the
that?
The Mongols come back round two.
Like, what more can he do? Because obviously you get two different endings. It's what are Sucker Punch going to do then? What ending do they make canon?
The one I picked.
It depends on the one you pick, because I would say the one I picked is the...
No fight. That's the one I picked. But yes, let's move on, because we've got a lot of games to cover and time is ticking on here. Tomahawk. The next game then is...
we didn't tier this. We haven't tiered it.
We haven't tiered it. What are we giving it? I haven't placed it in the tier.
It's an A tier all day long, I think.
Yeah. I was tempted to put it in the S, but I think
there's a few problems, and I think just like the map stuff is a bit unforgivable, really, in an open world game. But yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I had placed that in the tier when we were chatting. I was like, yeah, I did put it in A tier. I was tempted to put it in S, but the problems are there. The next game then is God of War. So this is the series, God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok.
Okay. I adored Ragnarok. I just think, I think 2018's story is better. Mm-hmm. I think Ragnarok's the metaphors and the narrative, I think, is a bit, the metaphors and the character development is a bit stronger, and it's a better game as a whole.
Okay.
It's an A tier, because I do think that there are bits in Ragnarok, and I think a lot of the bits in like maybe Atreus' character that do annoy me. There's an awful lot in God of War where I felt that it just kind of took you places for you then to go, oh, well, that didn't really pan out, so let's go back the way we go. And I think that's kind of what Santa Monica did in both games as well. There was a lot of story beats that you kind of went just to go there, not so much to advance a plot.
Yeah, here's something cool to look at. I get that. I played God of War 2018. I think I streamed it, like 2019. It was before lockdown. I really enjoyed God of War 2018. I thought it was superb. I liked the story. I liked the characters. I liked a lot about that game. I felt that, a bit like you. We have to go here for what? Just to go here type thing. The story I thought in 2018 utterly superb. Mm-hmm. I love the character development of Kratos in particular. I'm not a huge God of War 1, 2, 3 fan. I like them for what they are, but there's no character development, let's be honest.
No. It's it does kind of come a little bit full circle in Ragnarok. Like everything kind of happens and everyone's like looking to Kratos for guidance, and Kratos is like, no, I'm not that man. And then he draws the whole Valhalla thing. He draws on a lot of what he did in 1, 2, 3, and he's not that person anymore. And it kind of builds from it that way. But yeah, Santa Monica, I think, just took that franchise, absolutely rebuilt it.
Yeah. It's an incredible experience.
Yeah, like it was a proper great. It was a great story, and I think they did build on it really, really well in Ragnarok. But there's a lot that bugs me with the story and other bits. So I'm going to put it in A tier. If you're,
I mean, I think I'm happy enough with it in A tier. However, when Kratos goes back to his house and lifts the floorboards, and then takes out the wrap, and then opens the wrap, and it's the Blades of Chaos.
Yeah,
I utterly lost my mind. That part was so cool. It was so awesome, and it was like, yes, let's go. And the game
proper fan service, wasn't it? Yeah.
The last third of God of War 2018 was relentlessly outstanding. Like, it is just, I think God of War 2018 is better than Ghost, personally.
Oh, okay.
I really enjoyed 2018. I haven't finished God of War Ragnarok. I'm probably enjoying Ragnarok more than 2018. But that says more about Ragnarok than it does God of War 2018. Because I think 2018 God of War, it has issues. Of course, it does. All games do. I still think it's a masterpiece. I still think God of War is probably the second best game on PlayStation 4. For me, I think it's an S tier game, because if you get really into it and start taking out the Valkyrie and stuff, it becomes a completely different game. I think it's close to a masterpiece. I don't think it's as good as Bloodborne. So if you want it to be an A tier, I think I'm fairly happy for it to be an A tier.
I think it sits more with A to me. I can't in good conscience bump it up to S, but I get what you take. If you take the Valkyrie missions in isolation, if you take the Valhalla in isolation, if you take a cherry pick, yes, you could have an S tier game, but I think as a whole, there's enough bad in there. There's enough, not bad as such, but there's enough drawbacks that I think it just stops it from being an S tier game or an S tier series. Then if we're going to surmise the two of them, I think for what good Ragnarok was, there was an awful lot of, we're going to do this, but it's not going to amount to anything. We're just here to kind of drive a little bit of character development. It's not going to drive the story, but yeah, it has to. I think for me, it has to sit
fair enough
in A tier. Like, it's knocking on the door, but yeah, who knows? I think there is talk about a new God of War short story coming or soon, but
let's go.
It's all hearsay.
Bring him on. The next game then is Gravity Rush 2, or Gravity Rush of this series.
I liked Gravity Rush. I did.
I really enjoyed Gravity Rush in the Vita. Really enjoyed it. I thought it was a brilliant game. Gravity Rush 2 I'd never played. And that's probably the problem with it. I really enjoyed Gravity Rush for what it was. It was different. It was utterly unique. It had a beautiful art style, like an incredible art style. It's a very, very, very unique game, but it just doesn't exist anymore. But I don't think it's through any fault of itself. I think it's more of a fault of Sony, if I'm being honest. I think Gravity Rush has a place in the PlayStation library, even now. It was just a very, very, very good game. I'm tempted to give it a B tier, you know?
Yeah, no, I think we're kind of in that. I did enjoy. I played a little bit of Gravity Rush too. I did quite enjoy. I do like this like Japanesey art style that they have going for it. Like I'm a sucker for that. That's I would wonder why I've never played a Persona game at that rate, but we'll not get into that today. But yeah, I think it's just one of those gets forgotten about, and when it gets forgotten about, it just nobody talks about it.
Yeah,
and it pleased me for the time I did play it, but
totally unique. I love the gravity manipulation,
kind of
mechanics.
middle of the road as a whole. Then I think we've had some hard hitters in this list so far, so
yeah,
they just drown it out by that standard.
Yeah. Okay. Next up then is Gran Turismo.
I like Gran Turismo. I don't like it as much as Cardinal Smith likes Gran Turismo, but Gran Turismo 3 was my like entry level to this series, and then Gran Turismo 7 were basically I kind of missed 4, 5, and 6 at that point, really.
I mean, yeah, you didn't miss much with 6, to be honest. I love Gran Turismo. I think Gran Turismo is great. Gran Turismo 7, amazing. Gran Turismo Sport, the PlayStation 4, amazing. My problem with Gran Turismo is my first Gran Turismo was Gran Turismo 1. Now, because of this is PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, it's very hard to divorce Gran Turismo from 1 and 2 on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
And even Gran Turismo 3 I spec on the PlayStation 2. It's an exceptional racer. It has a lot going for it. It's an exceptional racer. It's just, if we're boiling this down to how good does this game race, there's none better, in my opinion, than Gran Turismo 7.
Like the driving simulator, sure, it's advertised as. Like, I think if you put it next to like a Need for Speed, I think more people would gravitate to a Need for Speed. I think if you're a real kind of like the minutiae of the car engineering side of things, then Gran Turismo is your game.
Yeah, I think Karna will push for this to be an S tier.
Absolutely.
I think it's an A tier.
Yeah,
I think it's an A tier.
Yeah, I know. I think that's absolutely right. I think for what it wants to do and what it achieves, it has its fan base. It has its little niche in the market.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. I love it. I think it's great, but it's an A tier for me.
Yeah.
Next up then is Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2. This one's tough.
Yeah, there's a lot to say about this. My brain instantly went, "That's an S tier game. What are you talking about? This is ludicrous that we're even discussing this." And then I actually sit and go, "Well, let's actually talk about this for a minute.
Let's reflect here." Yeah, I mean, my initial thought was, "Is it an S tier game?" And then I'm looking at this tier list right now. Is it better than God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, and Gran Turismo 7? It's not. But is it better than Concrete Genie, Demon's Souls, Gravity Rush 2? It is. It's an A tier. It's a high A tier. I don't think it does enough to get into S.
No. I think for the time we played it, I get great enjoyment when I do play it. It's very much a 2-player, like a one friend minimum.
This was your game of the year last year.
This was my game of the year last year as well, so I have to fight big time for this. I did play this recently with a good friend of the podcast, Josh from Discount Pod, and I had an absolute blast.
Yeah,
just if it wasn't just kind of guiding him through random like new enemies, it was watching him dig a hole for resources.
Yeah,
and then just telling him, well done, good job.
Well done. There, that's great work. Is it an S tier though? Can you make any representations for this to be an S tier game?
No.
I don't. I don't think we can justify putting it above God of War and Ghost of Tsushima.
I think it's just one of them games that there was a period of time where the devs were just doing too much to course correct.
Yeah,
and I think that threw the game into a little bit of
disarray for a little bit. It did.
It took a little bit of time to normalize. I think when they announced late last year their 60-day patch, or this is what we're going to expect, and they did a full roadmap, and that kind of has fixed a lot of it and has made a lot of people a bit happier now. I did open it up the other day, and I don't ever do this, and I read some of the patch notes, and I went, oh, good Lord, this is a lot that's been, for everything that has been nerfed, there's an awful lot that's been buffed. But overall, every time I play it, I have a great experience. It's not an S tier game.
No, I agree.
It is.
It's excellent. Yeah. It's excellent. It's an excellent game. It's a great game, but it's not an S tier game. Horizon Zero Dawn, then. So Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West is what we're talking about.
Okay, I loved Horizon Zero Dawn.
So did I.
I detested Horizon Forbidden West.
Okay.
And I don't know what it was. I've never got a campaign finished in the game as quick in all my life. There was just something about Forbidden West that just went, what have you done? What did they do? And it just really took immersion. It took everything they had set up. I just went, what have you done that for? Why have you made that conscious decision? And this is what I have to deal with now until when you make Horizon 3. So
I loved Horizon Zero Dawn. I played through Horizon Zero Dawn, I think, 3 times. I played through it when it came out, give it a year, played through it again, and then played through it a third time when the Frozen Wastes came
Frozen
out.
Wilds, yeah.
Frozen Wilds was the best part of the game for me. It was incredible. I really loved that. I loved that game. I think when I was playing it, I think I might have said to you, maybe Cardinal, certainly said to someone, it hits a point where you realize just how special a game Horizon Zero Dawn is. And it is something to do with Rust. When you're like, oh my days, I'm playing a game here that's quite exceptional. I think it's an exceptional game. I own Forbidden West. It's still not shrink wrap. I don't know why, but I've never been drawn to play it. But I think based purely on the quality of Horizon Zero Dawn, I'm happy enough to put that in A tier.
I probably would have gone higher if not that Forbidden West just sits with such disdain in my heart.
Yeah. I own Horizon Forbidden West on PlayStation 4, and I think I may also own it on PlayStation 5, and the PlayStation 4 is still in the shrink wrap.
Okay. I would say play it because it's a gorgeous game. I just think they took a lot of good characters and then just made some really bizarre choices with them.
Okay.
And set it up that they're just... Also, when I got to the final boss, I don't ever do this. It actually, the difficulty spike for the final boss was criminal. That I had to bump it down because I was just like, I'm never finishing this game otherwise.
Yeah.
So they'll obviously have set it up for Horizon 3, but they've just gone, I think, too far with potentially what that narrative could have been. They could have kept it. They could have just done it as a standalone title. It would have been absolutely perfect. But there we are.
There we are. So A tier for them for Horizon.
A tier. Absolutely.
Next up then is MLB The Show. A game we have very little experience with.
I do forget that this is like a Sony first party. This is one of them. For being like a sport game, I usually think that these sport franchises tend to be across the multi-platforms. But
yes, Sony San Diego. Sony San Diego.
It's baseball. It's
baseball. It's C tier. Absolutely.
What we did play, I enjoyed. It wasn't a janky game by any sense. I think Sony do take a lot of time and effort and love-ish into this to make it right as a sport game. I think if you're going to release a sport game, it has to be the sport you're portraying, and it has to work that way. So, I mean, they hit the brief, and they've hit the brief for bloody 20 years, I would say.
It's generally considered the best baseball game series ever made. So I have no idea about baseball. All I know is I played the Home Run Derby. I really had fun with it. I played a few games, hadn't a clue what was going on, uninstalled it. It's not for me, but it's a really good game. But it's it
performs well, but it's a C tier all day long.
It's a C tier. Next up then is Returnal.
Oh, I do love Returnal. No, never finished it. Mind, this is
no,
because it's bloody difficult. I have been tempted to like strip it from the hard drive, like save states and data and everything, and just stream it raw and go from level 0. Not yet done that. Not yet pulled the trigger on that now, but. I'm afraid. I think that's what it is. You know the Rocky meme where he's like, "I'm afraid. I don't know what you tell me. I'm afraid. God damn it."
Yes.
There's enough of a hook in there that every time I do boot it up, I'm like, "Oh, I'll do like 3 or 4 runs," and there's just enough of a narrative to pique my interest in a roguelike. But it's a B tier game with like an.
Wow.
It's pretty bare bones, but it's a good testament to the console.
I mean, it's Housemarque. Housemarque are famed for their arcade experiences. Like they make really good arcade experiences type games. I was agreeing with absolutely everything you said there until you said it was a B tier game. Like you got much further in this game than I ever did. I still can't beat the first boss. But
Okay.
I can get so close and he just annihilates me with the final sort of phase. But there's something in Returnal where it's just the gameplay is classic house market is just so finely tuned. What I like about Returnal is if you die lots and lots and lots, they find little ways of giving you breadcrumbs of the story to keep you interested.
Yeah.
But the gameplay in this game is so good. Like, I mean, it is so good. The skill ceiling for this is, I have no idea how high I can go, but I can go high.
Like it's such a smart game, and
Yeah.
as you say, if you die like consecutively and early, the game kind of does throw you a gimme, or will throw you something to go. Oh, maybe the room config will be just a little bit easier for you. Here's a load of room with pickups, or here's a fast track to where you actually need to go, or
here's a respawn point.
It's really clever and it's really, really good. Or they'll drop a loot room for you quite early doors. It's a smart game.
I think
is a bit too hard. Was a bit too harsh.
How I always review games is what did the developers intend, and how close did they get to those intentions? And I think if we take Returnal on that criteria, it has succeeded.
Oh, hit the mark
in everything they intended to do. I don't think it's an S tier game, but I think it's A. I think it's probably one of the best games on PlayStation 5. Coming from someone who can't beat.
Yeah, that stands to reason. Boss. I think I genuinely, when you get the grapple hook and you can just go to the tower horde mode bit.
Yep. Tower of Babel, I think it's called.
One of my favorite sequences in that game. When I realized I was never beaten Biome 4, I basically just went, I'm going to do the Tower of Terror because that's going to be far more fun.
yeah. I think it's an A tier game. I think the gameplay is it's not even solid. The gameplay is exceptional. It plays so exquisitely, and there's just enough mechanics in it. And, the dashing, the sort of, the weapons all feel different. You get a favorite weapon, which is not something you can say of very many shooters, where a weapon just suits you. The enemy variation's great. I think I love the way you go through a door and everything's randomly generated. You don't know what you're going to get with every single gameplay, and it expects you to adapt on the fly to a lot of different things. And I think it's incredible. I think Housemarque set out to give us a modern day, almost like Contra, and they succeeded in every possible level.
I think I'm possibly grading this thinking like that Simple is bad. Simple is, it's done right and it's done without it is faultless in terms of its execution. I will give it that. Now the best way I always describe this is like, it's like playing The Binding of Isaac but ramped up to 11.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they're both roguelites, like, so I mean, I have it in A tier currently.
I'm willing.
But I'm tempted to put the S.
Go.
Is that good?
I'm tempted. No, I think B's harsh for what it did and what it does and how it still kind of sits with me, and it constantly like teases me to get back playing it. Now, I'd be more inclined to push it back into A tier than I would be to keep it into B.
Yeah, I'm happy with A tier.
No, B was very harsh, I think, on my part there.
Undoubtedly. Okay, so next up then is Ratchet and Clank. So this is Rift Apart and the remake of the first one on PlayStation 4. I have played both of those games. I think Ratchet and Clank, the remake of the first one, exceptional game. I think it made the game worse than what it was on PlayStation 2. For a number of reasons.
They tied this in with a movie, didn't they? Yeah. So there was an awful lot of stuff that was like movie specific, and you had to have watched the movie to understand what was going on there. That seems a bit weird. That seems a bit counterintuitive for Sony.
I get it. Multimedia,
but I get
sort of
why they do it. Yeah, it's that synergy that they want to achieve. But I watched you play Rift Apart.
Rift Apart's exceptional.
It's a phenomenal game. I think Insomniac just knew what they were doing with the PlayStation 5. I have like dabbled in it for a bit. I think the kind of semi-open world aspect's really good. I think that the like your weapon progression, it's so raw. It's such a great wee like AA platformer, as we say.
I think it's
they've kind of
AAA.
brought. You think AAA? You would go
100%.
AAA? Okay.
100%. I would argue Ratchet and Clank on PlayStation 4 is the best looking PlayStation 4 game. And I would make solid representations that Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is the best looking PlayStation 5 game. These are AAA games.
Rift Apart did look phenomenal. Like, I think just like
it was doing things I've never seen a game
the
be
hair
able to do.
textures, even that one where you're like skateboarding, you're grinding across the entire map just to fight the big giant robot.
Yes,
that blew my like. I'm
Fixer.
Baffled, but I'm not even baffled because PlayStation 5 is a phenomenal piece of kit. But
there's no way they should be able to do that.
But these are games that we talked about like Astrobot. We talked about like Bloodborne. We talked about like Death Stranding. These are games that like push the console to its max capability, and a real showpiece of like what the hardware can do. So,
yep.
I'm gonna follow your lead on the ranking of these ones because I have played Rift Apart, not enough to possibly form enough of an opinion on it, but yep. I will probably happily fall in line with what you say on this one.
You might not, however. I am going to make representations here before I tell you where I have placed this on the tier list.
Cool.
I think Ratchet and Clank, the remake, made the game worse than the PlayStation 2 game. Like for me, Ratchet and Clank on PlayStation 2 is an exceptionally good game. And by making it worse, I mean you're probably taking off 2-3 points off its total. I think Ratchet and Clank, the remake on PlayStation 4, is 90 plus on Metacritic for me. And I think Rift Apart is 90 plus. I think Ratchet and Clank as a franchise, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, is an S tier, 100%. I have not played many games recently that I've had more unbridled joy playing than Rift Apart. And I think it never got boring. It's not over long. The story was really fun. The whole setup for it is really fun. And it is just a technological showpiece.
I'm not going to fight you on that purely because I watched you stream that entire game in its entirety, and that level where you fight the Fixer, just
unreal.
Even just watching it, like I can imagine I'm watching that at the 1080p resolution on a laptop on Twitch, and I can only imagine what you're watching that on like a full 50 odd inch TV that can achieve a far better refresh and frame rate and all that kind of jazz. Like if your joy is reflected on Twitch, I have no issue. I
think it's S tier.
I have no issue slotting that in S tier, to be fair. I think that game just was it's a great advertisement for the PS5 and its capabilities, and it's shown from like minor textures in like Ratchet's fur to like even the scope in that boss battle as well. And plus the game was so heavily featured in the PS5 Pro tech demo that there's faith in it as well. So
it's been around for years. I think Ratchet and Clank's S tier. I really enjoyed the PlayStation 4 game. I absolutely loved the PlayStation. I think it's the best game I've played on PlayStation 5. Okay. So it is. I rate it so highly. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's better than God of War. I think it's better than Ghost as a video game.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm happy to take that.
Okay, we're in the home straight here. So next up then is Infamous Second Son. Delson.
It feels though Second Son, in my humblest of opinions, feels like an add-on more than like here's a full-blown Infamous title. I feel as if we were robbed of a full-blown Infamous title slightly.
I disagree with that. I really enjoyed Second Son. I thought it was fun. I thought it's beautiful. This is another Insomniac game, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it Sucker Punch? It's one or the other. I thought it was a really good game. I liked it. However, I think it withheld too many of Delson's abilities until the last sort of quarter of the game.
Okay.
The last quarter of the game was way better than the first 3/4, if that makes sense. I found it frustrating in bits, but I really enjoyed it. It's probably my favorite Infamous game. I think it's better than the PlayStation 3 games with whatever you called him. What do you call him? Cole McGrath.
Yeah.
I like this one better. I think it's the best Infamous game, but it can be very boring in parts. I have it here at C tier.
Yeah, I think I missed the boat on the first two Infamous anyway. So when this one came out, and I kind of want to say that this was like just a PS4. It wasn't a launch title. I think it came a little bit.
No, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it came out when the PlayStation 4 came out.
I think I'd already missed the boat on the first two installments. Then this one kind of just went by me, and then whenever I did play it, I was just like, there has been plenty of games better than this.
Yeah.
So C tier, yeah, I'm happy enough. That strikes me as fair.
Yeah. I think C tier. It's a good game. I think the DLC for it, the name escapes me. The DLC for it was a far better game. If we were talking about the DLC for this, like it's an A tier because the DLC was amazing. Like,
Okay.
honestly, truly great. Okay, next up then is Shadow of the Colossus. This is an easy one for me. This is an S tier game. It's a masterpiece, an absolute masterpiece.
Beautiful game. Like, I actually can't disagree with that one. That game is superb, utterly superb. Like, I played it once, and it's one of them games that has like stuck with me for years.
It's an absolutely incredible remake. It's just an incredible remake. It's an S tier game. That's all that needs to be said about it. Absolute masterpiece. Play it if you haven't. Please play it if you haven't.
No, dude, I remember playing it OG, and then
yeah,
it needs to be. I think the remake does need to be revisited. Actually, it's been so long, but just a game that has like, it sits with the way Journey sat with us as well. It's kind of in that realm. So
yeah,
I think it's long overdue a refresher in my mind. Like,
yeah, but I mean,
it's
2018.
perfection.
I think it came out 2018, 2019. Yeah. Next up then, Spider-Man. So we're talking about Spider-Man Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2.
Haven't played Spider-Man 2 yet, so I loved Miles Morales. Actually, I really, really did, and I loved Spider-Man 1.
Mm-hmm. I think Spider-Man 2 is the best one.
I would believe that now. Haven't seen like all the launch demos and stuff for it, and actually, what's really good is Sony still haven't really, as much as they push the game and as much as like they still post like loads of clips and whatever, and they're not spoiler heavy. I think they're very conscious that like people aren't paying $70 or £70 for a game this day and age still, so they're not willing to post out loads of random content that will heavily spoil the narrative and the game that way. So I really enjoyed the first one. I really enjoyed Miles Morales, even though it was like not a DLC. This is kind of like the Lost Legacy vibe, where it's like half a full game.
yeah.
But kind of helps build
It's a really good game.
What they've set up. Yeah, I mean, it's an A tier all day long.
Yeah, that's where I've put it. That's where I've placed it. I think it's a great series of games. I think they've gotten better and better as they go on. I know Spider-Man 2 got a lot of hate. I don't understand it. Give me the same. It is an Insomniac game like Ratchet and Clank. So it's just they're just doing things that no developer can. Like the fight against Sandman, and it's just incredible. It's
even
just like,
the boss fight.
How's this going on?
Even the Doc Ock fight at the end of Spider-Man 1 is just like, the scope was so good, and again, another boss that had a massive difficulty kick. I didn't
find that at all. I think Spider-Man 2, the final boss in Spider-Man 2 is a pretty hefty jump, but I thought the Sinister Six fight, when was it? Electro, Vulture and Ock?
Scorpion.
Yeah, I thought that was incredible. Like, that was just an incredible experience. I think, A tier for Spider-Man all day long. It's just a great game.
It was one of them ones that I haven't played a game as good in that kind of genre, in that kind of style, since like Arkham City. And I think it took a lot of the formula from Arkham City and it just ran with it. So like, obviously as the story progresses, all the enemies ramp up and their tech and their gear gets far better. Like, but Yeah, that game was so fluid with the combat, and the story was great. I didn't like the Mary Jane stealth bits, but
No.
I don't think a lot of people did.
No one does. No one does. They made them better for Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
Next up then is the Order 1886.
I love this one, but I feel as if it was oversold. As you know, people thought it was coming out as like a proper game, but it was a 4-hour. Like it was like
even?
It was a 4-hour cutscene,
but it was incredible. Looking.
Bits of game, yeah.
There's no real game here. Let's be honest.
Is it a C tier? Is it an advertisement for the system as opposed to an here's a great game?
Yeah, I think this is a tech demo, and it's every sense of the word. It's a tech demo. It is a showcase of the graphical power of the PlayStation 4. It is probably the best looking game on PlayStation 4.
Yeah, I have the. It's not in this room. It's not with me at the minute, but I'm gonna put it up on our socials. I have the box, the big heavy duty collector's edition box, and it's got the blood chalice and everything in it as well, and all the documentation and stuff. I think I paid something like 15 quid for it. So it was a game that went on sale the pre-order prices for it just plummeted. There was no resellability for it really. So I have it purely as a collector's niche.
Yeah, I think this game's concept is better than the game.
Mm-hmm. I remember the VT that they released with it, and it was purely like, you know, when they say it's in-game engine. Mm-hmm. There was no gameplay trailer for it, where they were going through that that sort of misty London setting, and you're fighting werewolves in the shadows and stuff like that. I thought it had a great concept.
The concept's amazing.
Yeah,
it probably deserves to be revisited. Where do you want to put it? Where are we putting this?
See, absolutely, it's a system advertisement. It's a tech demo than a game. At the end of the day,
but I'm happy enough to move it up. So I am. Okay, last 4. The Last Guardian. What are we thinking? It's a good game.
It is a good game.
It's a good game. It has mega issues.
It's a game I haven't visited in a long time now.
It has a lot of issues. The biggest issue for me, and I understand it was a design choice, and I get it. Trico is an animal. Animals aren't always going to listen to you. But in a video game, when you need Trico to
listen and
progress, it just sits there looking at you. I think it's a really good game. I think you can tell it's come from the studio that gave us Shadow of the Colossus and Ico. And it's an exceptionally beautiful story. It looks exceptional as well. But I just don't think...
It just didn't quite hit the mark.
Yeah, I think it's better than The Order. I think it's better than Second Son. I think it's a better game than those. I have it beat here, but I'm willing to hear representation.
I don't have much more representation for it. This is one that, like, Shadow Colossus was always going to be like there, and Last Guardian it just doesn't resonate the same way.
I
shouldn't paint them with the same brush, but I'm kind of and that's sadly where my opinion is based at the minute.
I think in a world where if we reversed the release order for these two games, I think The Last Guardian would be Shadow of the Colossus, if that makes sense, because I think the story in the Last Guardian is really beautiful. I really love the story of it, and I just love the set, and I love the whole look of it. I just like this game, but I just can't get past the fact that sometimes the critical path, you can't access it because Trico goes no.
Like, I think when the AI in the game actively decides it doesn't want to listen to you, kind of negates the point of the game, really.
And I do like the way as you build trust with him, those become less and less frequent, but it's a tough sell. There's a lot of moving barrels around as well. I have it at B tier. I think B tier's fair. I think it's as good as Gravity Rush.
Fair. Yeah, it's a very fair placement for it. Now, I think had it not been so prevalent with like just AI defiance, we'll call it.
Yeah, I think the big thing that stands against it is it was originally intended to be a PlayStation 3 launch title and didn't come out until PlayStation 4. It was one of those lost games, you know. I think people got their expectations up far too high for it.
I think never that's then what disappointed. Yeah,
it was never going to meet people's expectations of it. Okay, last three. Until Dawn. This is the original and the remake. I've never played the remake, so this is the original.
I've only ever watched someone stream the remake, and apart from the graphical bump, there's not much I really noticed in terms of the plot differences or any differences at that. It's a okay. I was gonna say it's an A-tier game all day long, but it does have, when you start. Do I have to start thinking about the Quarry? Do I have to start thinking about the Dark Pictures? Do I have to start thinking about Supermassive as a whole to impact my decision on this then?
I think it's unfair to compare Until Dawn to the Quarry.
But this is what I'm... Yeah,
by about 5 years.
This is it. There's a big change in the technology. And we've discussed this. We did this in the Game of the Month episode as well. We take the two different points in history, two different points in that technology available in the day. I think for what Until Dawn is, and for the replayability I've always had for Until Dawn, don't know, ask me why. It's you only get a finite set of choices. It's an A-tier game all day long.
Yep, agreed. I think it's an A. I think in the Game of the Month we give it an S-tier game. I think in the context of what we're looking at here, is it as good as Astrobot, Bloodborne, Ratchet and Clank, and Shadow of the Colossus? No. So it has to, but it's better than Concrete Jungle.
Is it a genre-defining game? I think
it is. Yeah, it is
absolutely. So I think A tier, 100%. I think just when it came out, it blew my mind. It still blows my mind. The game is stunning.
Yep,
it's aged, but it's stunning.
I'm playing it through on Twitch at the minute. I'm loving it. I think it's really good fun. It's just a fun game. It's just, there's a lot to like about it, not the characters. But last two games, then we've left. The last two are massive hitters here. We're in the Naughty Dog zone. The Last of Us. So this is Last of Us Part 2, and all 72,000 remakes.
See, my brain would have gone straight away to S tier, and I think I'd be talking myself out of an S tier if it wasn't for the fact that we've had the PS4 remaster, then the remake, then the part 2, then the part 2 remaster, and then we've got the complete edition, and now we've got the TV shows, and now like that's kind of what would be like starting to knock me down. It's like we're getting too much Last of Us exposure, but for like raw Last of Us, what it did, we talked about earlier as a cinematic experience, these games do that. They hit that on the head.
Yep.
Everything about this, I think we've already touted this as a potential Game of the Month as well, because everything about this game just blew my mind originally, and it just has gotten better. And I think that story, no matter how many times you play it, those story beats hit home every single time.
Every single time.
Yeah.
I hate the discourse around this game of how many times it needs to be released. It will be released the amount of times it sells crazy. It will re-release again if this one sells 20 million copies. This game is, I separate the games from all the nonsense around it, the discourse online. The Last of Us is a masterpiece. The Last of Us Part 2 is a masterpiece.
The Last of Us Part 2, it took me two different playthroughs, and I have two very differing opinions on it each time. That is for a deep dive episode in its own right, but The Last of Us Part 2, I think for it to have two full playthroughs and two very different opinions about that shows how like the depth that game achieves.
I think the two of them are masterpieces. I think if we put them anywhere other than S, it's
a disservice to the industry, really. I think it is absolutely phenomenal. I think playing, I'll probably go back and do it's when people do the annual Lord of the Rings watch. I think this is like an annual The Last of Us 1 and 2 run. So I'm not far from having to do that again.
And then the last game then is Uncharted. So Uncharted 4 and Uncharted Lost Legacy.
I streamed Uncharted 4 and I loved every minute of it. It's a great game.
I personally think Lost Legacy is a better game than 4. I think 4 is really good. I think 4 is exceptionally, but I honestly
don't think
prefer
people realize how good Lost Legacy was going to be. Yeah, I get exactly where you're coming from. I think that Chloe Nadine link up
Yep.
was just a match nobody saw coming.
Yep. And it's just, for me, the perfect length of game, like 6-7 hours, is just the perfect length of game.
It's that same thing with Miles Morales as well. It's a lovely supplement to
tide you over until the next main game that still hasn't come out. I really love Uncharted 4. I have my issues with the story, namely Sam. I think Sam's a great character, but just the fact that this is game number 4.
Sam's shoehorned in.
Yes.
As your brother? He's like, he is absolutely shoehorned in with little to no explanation, and you get a bit of a janky flashback with him.
It's just like, my brother now, deal with it.
I think Nadine's redemption arc is really strong in Lost Legacy.
Yeah.
And I think Chloe is just one of my favorite PlayStation characters.
Yes, mate.
Of the modern era. I think she's just brilliant. Like, she is, we discussed this as well. She's the female, like, Nathan Drake. She is just this sassy, doesn't know when to shut up kind of character. Yeah. And I think even the
Rafe, I love Rafe.
As a shorter game, it doesn't skimp on like graphical magnificence. Even when you climb to the top of the giant like Shiva.
Yes. Yes.
She then starts to meditate or do yoga on top of the statue, and the camera just does this lovely pan away, and you get in the full scope of the world, and you know rightly that is all
real time.
There's none of this generative like rendering. It's all like, you know that your character will be there in the far distance, not too far from where you are.
Yeah, it's a true Naughty Dog game series. This it's one of the very few game series as well where you could make a real argument that it's gotten better and better with every installment. The only stumbling block there is 3. 3 is not as good as 2, but from 3, like, they've just gotten better and better. I think Golden Abyss is better than 3. I really like Uncharted 4. I just love the whole story. I love the setting. I love Rafe. I think Rafe's a great bad guy. He's just superb. He's just bonkers. What I loved most about Uncharted 4 is my one sticking block with Uncharted as a series is this descent into the supernatural. Every time you get to the city you're looking for and there's monsters. And as I was playing through Uncharted 4 for the first time, I was waiting for it. And then when we got to the pirate like city,
when you get to Libertalia,
here we go. Here comes the zombie pirates, and it fakes it. Like, it makes you
so grounded. Like,
so
by comparison, it's so grounded, and I think it nearly retcons that supernatural element. Like, by just going, no, we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, and it fakes you out because you have like you hear things falling over, and you're like, what's that? And you're thinking, oh, here we go. But no, it never happens, and I think it made it a far better game. I think. I know I just said it, Lost Legacy is my favorite. I prefer it over 4. But 4 has a really solid shout of being the best Uncharted.
Yeah, it's quite close, to be fair. I like Lost Legacy as a good, like, tides you over, but in terms of as a whole, a good strong narrative 4 takes it.
Yep.
But when we have to judge them collectively as a PS4, PS5 franchise, because it's also, let's not forget, this has also had a bit of a graphical upheaval for the PS5 as well.
They got a PlayStation 5 update, Where are we putting this?
I think this one sits A, knocking the door of S, and it's hammering the door.
Oh, I think it's an S tier. I think Uncharted is S tier. I think it is. It definitely has a shout of being Sony's strongest franchise. I think.
If you take all 4 and all the other spin-offs and other titles,
you take it as a whole.
Stands to reason.
it's probably Sony's strongest franchise. I think Nathan Drake has a really good shout of being one of Sony's
Most
best
iconic
characters.
yeah.
I think he's a shout of being probably their best character.
I like their flag. He's like their flag bearer in that instance.
I'm not going to lie. I instinctively placed Uncharted 4 in A. But I think if we just take... if we're talking about Uncharted and Uncharted Lost Legacy, which we are, we're talking about franchises
here. I think they supplement each other really well.
And I think it elevates the PlayStation 4 era of Uncharted to an S tier.
Do two A's make an S in this instance? Then I think so.
I think so. I think if you take those two games as a pair, which Sony intends for you to do, because there is the Legacy of Thieves collection that bundles the two of them together. Mm-hmm. I think together they just make a outstanding. It is an outstanding
duology.
Game.
Then, yeah. Yeah, basically, it's done the Spider-Man Miles Morales treatment, but it's like just ramped it up and
just it linked better to Uncharted 4 than Miles Morales did to Spider-Man. Miles Morales felt like its own thing, whereas Lost Legacy felt like Uncharted 4.5. If that makes sense.
That does make sense. That makes perfect sense. I mean, you're not wrong. They're two great games, and they're two great games in isolation. And when you pair them together, they do make a great... Yes. No, you're right. You're 100% right.
I think it's an S tier.
I think so. I think you're right. No, I'll take that all day long.
Okay. Do you want to hear the final? I think so. The final tier list then? We'll start at D and work our way up.
Let's do it.
Okay. So D tier only has one game. Destruction All Stars. Oh, sorry, and Concord. Sorry, it's been right in front, man. I've been wiping it from my memory. C tier had Dreams, Major League Baseball, the show, Infamous Second Son, and First Light, the DLC. And in the order, 1886. B tier had Concrete Genie. It had Days Gone, Demon's Souls, Gravity Rush 2, and The Last Guardian. A tier had God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Gran Turismo, Helldivers 2, Horizon Zero Dawn / Horizon Forbidden West, Returnal, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2, and then Until Dawn. And in S tier then, I think S tier is really stacked. Good. You could buy these games and be happy with your choices. Astrobot, Bloodborne, Ratchet & Clank, Shadow of the Colossus, The Last of Us, Uncharted 4, Uncharted Lost Legacy.
That's not bad.
It's a heck of a list, mate. It's a heck of a list.
Not bad at all.
But I am really conscious that time has crept away from us here. That was a lot of talking. So let's quickly segue into the wrap-up section.
Let's do it.
And that is it, Tomahawk. Another episode all wrapped up. We have done it. We have taken Sony's PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 output and put them into the ultimate tier list. No one can come at us and say that is incorrect, because that was our opinions, Tomahawk. And people have opinions. And we want to hear your opinion, listeners. If you feel that we have made a mistake with one of those games or more than one of those games, tell us where the mistake is in the comments below and tell us where you would place that game instead. And if you just want to say, do you want to want us the perfect list, the perfect tier list? Well done, gentlemen. You've done God's work here. Then you can comment that as well.
That's some 5-star work we've done here today, guys. Just FYI.
I think it was a really good discussion. There was a lot of compromise in there, Tomahawk.
No, definitely. I think this has given me shades of 105 version 1. We seldom back down, but when we did, it was a fair compromise, really. So yeah. I have no qualms with that list. I think every game is in its rightful place based on trying to be as fair to the franchise and what we had to work with.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really easy. Game of the month, I think, is really easy to get sort of swept away with the enthusiasm of this is game of the month. This is a review. Let's review this game. And then when you sort of like look at it objectively, you're thinking, well, were we too generous with one or two games there? Until Dawn springs to mind. But I think this is it's a lot easier to sort of take your review scores into consideration of other games and go, is this game better than that game? And it's a really good way of sort of coming up with a definitive tier list, isn't it? You know what I mean? But we did, Tomahawk, just before we went into the tier list talk, we did tease that Cardinal was on a special mission, didn't we?
We did.
Let's go to Cardinal right now. Cardinal, can you hear me, mate? How are you getting on?
Thank you very much, Luvva. This is Cardinal Smith reporting from the rooftop on what is day 13 of the search for episode 105. Now, what I can tell you is the people on the ground are looking into the clouds, and there are clouds everywhere. Unfortunately, that means there's just so much to look through, various different cloud types. Episode 105 hasn't been spotted yet, but we remain diligent, wrapped up warm, and we'll keep looking at clouds, hoping to spot some piece of evidence. Yes, so thank you. This has been Cardinal Smith. Back to you.
Incredible. The search for episode 105 Mark 1 continues. He's not going to find it in any of those clouds, that's for sure.
It's not coming back anytime soon, but the valiant effort is there.
I don't know if it is. I think he might be half jobbing this, I think if
he's avoiding us, is he?
Yeah. I mean, he's not here. We need more video evidence. I think we have to get him to send us a daily video of his search in the cloud for episode 105 Mark 1. But Tomahawk, that is bringing us nice and neatly to the housekeeping. As I said at the start, if you want to give us a star rating on the podcast platform you listen to us on, 1 star to 5, give us whatever you think we deserve. If you want to give us a written review, that's even better. The algorithms love them. Leave us a written review. If you haven't shared this with a family member or a friend who you think will enjoy it, then please do that. Actually, just hit the share button and send it off to someone, anybody, everybody. And with all that being said, Tomahawk, we have come up to nearly 2 hours here, and I have nothing left to say except I've been Mr. Luvva Luvva. This has been High Scores, High Stakes. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Monday. Love you all. Bye.
Bye.